Shalom, shalom, everyone. This class is on the Zera Shimshon, Parashat Pinchas, and the topic of this class is the importance of peace. Now, in this week's Parsha, Pinchas was given 2 rewards for killing a wicked person by the name of Zimri. The first one was that he was made a Kohen, and the Midrash goes to explain that killing a wicked person is equivalent to offering a korban on the Mizbeach, or the altar, and Pinchas was rewarded by being able to give many korbanot in the future, hence being appointed as a Kohen or a Jewish priest. The second reward that Pinchas received that I'm going to be talking more in depth about was that he merited a complete and genuine peace. And the Zera Shimshon, he quotes a midrash, and he brings out a midrash that goes on to ask the question, what's so important about peace? Exactly what was so great about being rewarded with peace? Now, we all know that the world operates on peace. In fact, pretty much every country, every government in the world sends a representative to the UN, the United Nations, or in today's day, we call it the ultimate nothing, because nothing really gets done there. And they do that to ensure peace amongst the nations and to avoid conflict and war. Now, the Zera Shimshon, he goes to explain from a fascinating midrash that peace is so great that even if the nation of Israel, they're worshiping Avodah Zara, or idol worship, the Satan or Satan will not be able to touch them as long as they are at peace with one another. And it quotes the book of Nevi'im, in the book of the prophets, in the time of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 17. Ephraim is joined to idols, let him alone. Then it goes on to say, however, if they're fighting and disagreeing with one another, another verse from the Torah, from the Tanakh states, quote, their heart has parted, now they shall be desolate. Now, another really interesting thing that actually my father was telling me about, we look all throughout the Torah, and it constantly mentions the reward and how important it is to be at peace with one another and to be in shalom. And we know Moses' brother Aaron Aharon HaKohen, he loved peace, and he would actually chase after peace. So whenever he would see an argument, he tried to break it up. He was really a lover of peace, and God really loved him for that. Another really interesting thing is that my father pointed out a few years ago when I was learning with him, in the book of Nevi'im, during the time of King Ahab, the Jews they started abandoning their practice, and they started worshiping idols, performing the worst sins, and worshiping an idol by the name of Baal Peor. And although they were worshiping the idol and doing the worst sins, yet they were still at peace with one another, and they were treating each other with respect. And yet miracles upon miracles were still happening for the nation of Israel. They were still winning miraculous wars, and God's presence was still upon them, even though they turned their back away from God and started worshiping idols. So that just goes to show just how important peace is. Now, going back to the Parsha and the Midrash that the Zera Shimshon brings up, he goes on to state that the greatest benefit of peace is that it renders the Satan impotent and unable to harm us. The Zera Shimshon makes it clear that until death stops being a factor in our existence, and that as long as the angel of death is able to end a person's life, we know that we have still not achieved genuine and true peace. Now all of what I spoke about up until now, in in terms of the Parsha and in terms of general peace. This is all referring to regular peace. Now, the peace that was granted to Pinchas for killing Zimri, this was genuine peace. This was the highest level of peace, one in which even the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, had no ability to get involved. As explained in the Midrash, that Pinchas, he was transformed into the angel of Eliyahu Hanavi, and the Malach HaMavet, he was unable to touch him. That was how high his level of peace was. Now, death was no longer a factor in his life, and the Zera Shimshon quotes that Pinchas, he achieved the highest degree of peace, and that was his reward. That was the highest reward that one could achieve. Now, this class is for the neshama of the great Kabbalist and the author of the book, Zera Shimshon Chaim Nachmani. And until next week, Shabbat Shalom.